platform at London Euston is quieter than I expected for this hour. The long hum of the city softened into something gentler as the evening settles in. The Caledonian sleeper waits with its deep green carriages, lights glowing warmly through the windows like little beacons promising rest. There's a faint mist in the air, that soft London drizzle that never quite becomes rain, and it blurs the reflections on the platform tiles as I wheel my small overnight bag along. When I step aboard, everything feels hushed and cocooned, carpets muted, lamps low and golden, the soft sway underfoot already hinting at the long journey north. My cabin door slides open with a quiet click, revealing a neatly turned down bunk, a little bottle of Highlands water by the pillow, and that gentle linen smell that always makes me think of early nights and unhurried mornings. Outside, the last of London's bustle fades into a more distant murmur. I can still hear the muted chatter of other passengers settling into their rooms, the conductor's calm footsteps up the corridor, the distant hiss of steam somewhere down the train. Then the tannoy gives a soft chime, and the train gives a slow, deliberate lurch, just enough to let me know I'm moving. Through the window, the city lights drift past in long golden smears. Rows of flats, office blocks gone dark, a few late-night taxis sliding along wet roads. It feels like watching someone else's world from a warm, safe cocoon, my own tiny moving room carrying me steadily northward. I settle back onto the cabin seat, wrapping a blanket around my legs, feeling the gentle rocking start to lull me. Ahead lies the length of Britain, the deep night stretching out like a slow exhale, and beyond it the mountains and stillness of the Highlands. For now, though, it's me, the soft murmur of the tracks, and the cozy promise that by the time I wake, I'll be somewhere far quieter, far colder, and far more beautiful. After a little while, just as the rhythm of the rails settles into something steady and almost hypnotic, I hear soft footsteps in the corridor. A gentle knock follows, and when I slide the cabin door open, one of the conductors is standing there with a warm smile and a tray tucked against their side. "Hot chocolate? Some shortbread?" they ask in a low, cozy voice, as if they're offering it right before bedtime, which in a way they are. They're carrying a big, well-used flask, the kind that's clearly traveled this road hundreds of times. When they twist the cap and start to pour, a small cloud of steam curls upward, catching the warm cabin light. The smell hits first, rich, chocolatey, a little sweet, but not too much like something handmade rather than powdered. It fills the tiny room almost instantly, mixing with the soft scent of the bedding and the faint wood polish of the cabin walls. The conductor hands me the cup carefully, palms wrapped around the cardboard sleeve, as though they don't want me to burn my fingers. The heat seeps into my hands the moment I take it, radiating up my wrists, a perfect counter to the cool draught sneaking in around the window edges. On the tray beside the flask sits a neat stack of little shortbread fingers, buttery and pale, wrapped in crinkly packets. I take one, and it gives a gentle snap when I break it, sending up that unmistakable Scottish aroma, sweet butter with the tiniest hint of salt. As the conductor moves on down the corridor, I close my cabin door again and sit back on the edge of the bunk, cradling the hot chocolate. Steam spirals into the air, slow and silver, shimmering for a moment before disappearing. The first sip is thick and velvety, warming me in a way that seems to settle my whole body deeper into the sway of the train. Outside, the last traces of London fall away completely, replaced by darkness and the steady, comforting clatter of wheels carrying me deeper into the night, northwards towards the Highlands. Back in the gentle rhythm of the night, the cabin settles into its own little world, and the longer I sit with my hot chocolate and shortbread, the more I begin to notice the textures of the space around me. The carriage makes a soothing chorus of sounds, soft, layered, almost musical. There's the steady click-click of the rails beneath me, the occasional deeper thrum when the train crosses a junction, and the faint creak of the carriage walls as everything shifts and settles with the movement. Now and then, something in the ceiling gives a quiet metallic tick, like the train clearing its throat before sinking back into calm. It's the sort of soundscape that feels made for sleep, warm and rhythmic, like being rocked in the world's gentlest cradle. My cabin itself adds to the cocooning feeling. Every surface has that clean, slightly polished smell. Wood paneling warmed by the soft lamps, crisp sheets, and a faint whiff of laundry soap drifting from the neatly folded towels on the shelf. The small wardrobe door clicks shut with a satisfying firmness, and when the train leans gently on a curve, I can hear the hangers inside sliding together with a soft clink. The bunk creaks in a friendly way when I sit on it, the mattress firm but welcoming, just right for a night's rest on the move. The pillows have that crisp hotel plumpness, and the blanket folded at the foot of the bed has a dense woolly weight that promises warmth even when the Highland air grows colder through the night. The window brings its own character too. Every so often, a passing signal casts a brief flicker of light across the cabin walls, like a candle flame brushing the room. Then it's gone, replaced by darkness again, and I'm left with the faint rattle of the window frame and the soft whisper of wind slipping around the edges as the train speeds further from the city. Somewhere down the corridor, a door slides open and shut with a padded thump, followed by the muffled footsteps of another passenger settling in for the night. A kettle hums faintly from the service area, and further away, I can hear the low murmur of two conductors chatting quietly, their voices blending into the general hush. It's the sound of a shared journey. Dozens of people held in their own little pockets of light and warmth, all traveling through the same stretch of darkness. And in my cabin, wrapped in my gown, slippers warm on my feet, the lamplight soft and amber, it feels like the train itself has become a safe floating home for the night, carrying me northward with the steady certainty of its rails. I lift the cup again its warmth still seeping through the cardboard sleeve and into my hands. The steam curls upward in a slow, lazy ribbon, carrying that rich, comforting scent with it. When I take another sip, the hot chocolate feels almost impossibly creamy, thick, velvety, like it was stirred slowly over a stove rather than poured from a flask. The warmth spreads through me instantly, first my tongue, then my chest, and finally right down into my stomach, blooming outward like someone draping a heated blanket around my whole body. It softens the coolness of the window glass beside me and makes my shoulders drop just a little deeper into relaxation. I swallow, let the sweetness linger for a moment, and breathe out into the soft lamplight of the cabin. The heat settles into my hands as I keep the cup close, and the gentle sway of the train seems to sync with my breathing, slow, even steady. Outside the window, darkness rushes past in quiet waves, but inside, wrapped in my fluffy gown with slippers warming my feet, that creamy hot chocolate feels like the perfect anchor, a small comfort in a tiny cabin, carrying me through the quiet night toward the Highlands. As the train hums steadily northward, that familiar excitement begins to stir in my chest, the kind that only happens when I'm headed back to a place I love. The Highlands have always held that feeling for me. Wide open spaces, air that tastes cleaner the moment I step off the train, and views that seem to stretch far beyond what my eyes can take in. I can already picture the hills rolling into the distance, the deep, quiet lochs reflecting the sky, and that soft Highland light that makes everything feel calm and timeless. And of course, the people. There's something unmistakably warm about Highland friendliness, genuine smiles, easy conversation, the kind of welcome that makes me feel like I'm slipping back into a familiar rhythm. Just the thought of it all, of being surrounded by that landscape and those gentle accents, makes my heart give a little flutter. I know I'll need to get some sleep eventually. The bunk is waiting, soft sheets and warm blanket promising a proper rest. But there's no pressure tonight, no itinerary pulling at my mind. I have nothing planned for my trip, no tight schedules, no early starts, just the simple pleasure of being back in the Highlands, waking up to whatever the day decides to bring me. So I let myself linger in the moment a little longer, taking another small sip of my hot chocolate. The creamy warmth settles me even more, and with the rocking of the train, I can feel my eyelids growing heavier. Maybe I'll curl up on the bunk soon, or maybe I'll just sit here a little while longer, wrapped in my gown, watching the reflection of my cozy little cabin in the dark window. I sit there with the cup warming my hands, the train rocking gently beneath me, and a quiet realization settles over me, soft, slow, and comforting. For the first time in a long while, it feels like all the worries and stresses I've been carrying can finally be set aside, not pushed away or ignored, just released for now, like exhaling after holding my breath for far too long. Something about the sleeper train always does this. The hum of the rails, the dim glow of the lamps, the sense of being carried through the night without needing to do anything myself. Wrapped in my cozy gown, feet snug in my slippers, I feel cocooned in a little pocket of calm, a space where nothing urgent can reach me. As I rest my head back against the soft cabin wall, I realize that so many of the things I tend to worry about, the little stresses, the what ifs, the noise of everyday life, aren't really worth the weight I give them. Out here, moving steadily through the dark countryside, Those thoughts feel small and far away, like distant lights on the other side of a field. The peace that settles in their absence is almost surprising in its gentleness. It's not forced or dramatic, just a quiet, steady ease spreading through me, warm as the hot chocolate still lingering in my chest. I breathe a little deeper, my shoulders loosen, and for the first time all day, my mind feels unburdened, open, still. Outside the window, the night rushes past in a velvet blur. Inside the cabin, I feel safe, warm, and perfectly at peace, carried northward toward the Highlands, where the world always seems a little slower, a little kinder, and far less complicated. Some time drifts by without me even noticing. The hot chocolate cools on the little shelf beside me, the last few sips forgotten as the steady rhythm of the rails begins to weave itself through my senses. The train's movement has softened into something deeply soothing, a gentle, hypnotic rocking that feels almost like a lullaby. Each clatter of the wheels meeting the track blends into the next, a soft, repeating pattern that settles into my bones. The carriage gives the occasional creak, a friendly, familiar sound, like an old house shifting as it falls asleep for the night. Even the faint hum from the heater adds to it, a low, constant warmth that makes the cabin feel even more like a cocoon. As I shift from the seat to the bunk, the mattress greets me with a comforting firmness, just the right amount of give. The sheets are crisp but inviting, and the thick blanket has that perfect weight, heavy enough to feel snug, light enough to let me breathe. When I lay back, the pillow cradles my head in a soft, cool cloud, and for a moment, I just lie there, letting the train sway me gently from side to side. My eyelids grow heavier with each passing minute. The world beyond the window has dissolved completely into darkness, leaving only my faint reflection hovering in the glass, wrapped in my gown and already half dreaming. Every sound around me, the distant door sliding shut, the muffled footsteps in the corridor, the steady hum of the rails, feels like it's been designed to ease me into sleep. I pull the blanket up to my chest, nestling deeper into the bunk. The warmth, the quiet, the soft vibration of the train underneath. Everything folds around me like a warm embrace. Sleep starts to tug at me, gentle but insistent, and for the first time tonight, I let myself drift with it, safe, cozy, and perfectly content as the sleeper train carries me north through the night. As the night deepens, and I drift in that warm, hazy space between waking and sleep, the train continues its steady journey northward, slipping further away from the city and into the quiet countryside. At some point, a few hours later, the darkness lightens slightly, not with daylight, but with the wide open stillness of remote land. The train has left behind the towns and suburbs, and now the countryside stretches out in vast, quiet expanses that feel older and deeper than anything made by human hands. Even without seeing it clearly, I can feel the openness, the way the air seems to shift when the land becomes wild. The carriage moves differently too, a gentle, lofty glide as the train begins to cross something long and curving, the Glenfinnan Viaduct, its great arches rising out of the night like the spine of some ancient creature. A faint mist hangs over the valley below, swirling in soft, silvery currents. The moonlight brushes its surface, catching the edges of the arches and making them glow as though carved out of pale stone. The whole scene is like something lifted straight from a myth or a whispered fairy tale, an old road in the sky carrying travelers through lands where legends still breathe quietly in the hills. The train glides gracefully over the viaduct, each arch passing beneath me with a slow, rhythmic confidence. Below, the glen is shadowy and serene, the kind of landscape that feels untouched, as if it could hold secrets older than any map. The mist curls around the hills like drifting magic, lifting and folding with the wind, and for a moment it feels as though the train itself is floating. Inside my cozy cabin, wrapped in my blanket with sleep still clinging to my mind, the moment feels unreal and strangely perfect. I'm warm, cradled in a soft bed, feeling the Highlands reveal their quiet wonders in the middle of the night. It's the kind of scene that makes the world feel enchanted, not loud or dramatic, but gentle, subtle, ancient. As the viaduct gives way to more open hillside and the train curves back into darkness, I let sleep take me once more as the Highlands embrace the train and carry it further north. Through the small window, cracked open just a little, a whisper of cool Highland air drifts in. It carries the faint scent of pine and damp earth, crisp and clean, blending beautifully with the warmth of the cabin. The fresh breeze mingles with the lingering sweetness of hot chocolate and the soft scent of my fluffy gown, giving the space a sense of being both expansive and entirely safe. The train hums steadily along the tracks, the familiar clickety-clack of wheels on rails, the gentle sway around curves, the occasional soft groan of the carriages as they bend and settle. The sounds are rhythmic and soothing, almost musical, syncing with the quiet pulse of the cabin and the slow rise and fall of my breath. Outside, the dark, misty countryside slips past unseen, hills rising and falling silently in the moonlight. The air hints at dew and distant lochs, and for a moment it feels as though the Highlands themselves are exhaling, carrying the train forward through their vast, still landscape. Within my cozy cabin, wrapped in warmth and lulled by the gentle rocking, the world outside and the world inside merge into a single, peaceful rhythm. The carriage floats steadily northward, deep into the heart of the Highlands, every sway, every whisper of air, every muted click of the rails encouraging rest and a quiet, contented stillness. Slowly, the gentle rocking of the train and the soothing symphony of clicks and sways begin to blur together, carrying the cabin into a soft, timeless hush. The warmth of the blanket, the heavy comfort of the pillow, and the faint, fresh scent drifting in from the window weave together into a cocoon of calm. Each breath slows naturally, deep and even, matching the steady rhythm of the train moving through the night. The dark countryside outside fades completely, replaced by a warm inner world where nothing needs attention, nothing demands thought. With every sway and whisper of the rails beneath, my body sinks further into the bunk, limbs loosening, shoulders dropping, and muscles unwinding in surrender to the night. Thoughts drift and scatter, unimportant, unhurried, until even the tiniest tension slips away. And then, quietly, fully, completely, sleep takes over again. Deep, dreamless, and entirely peaceful, it carries me northward through the Highlands as the train hums steadily along, a gentle, unwavering lullaby guiding the way.